Hey, I'm Mike D. Actually speaking these words myself, no AI voice clone here. You are listening to Pithy Cyborg, AI news made simple. No hype, no filler, just the stories that matter. Engineers, PhDs, founders, and semi-famous vibe coders read every issue. They are all significantly smarter than me. Here is what happened this week. AI got threatened, got feelings, and got someone fired. AI got threatened this week, then it got feelings, then it got someone fired before breakfast. Iran's Revolutionary Guard posted a video threatening to annihilate the $30 billion Stargate data center in Abu Dhabi just days before a 2-week ceasefire, using satellite imagery to prove they know exactly where it is. Anthropic's researchers cracked open Claude's internal wiring and found something nobody was fully prepared for. Emotion-like representations that actually change how the AI behaves, makes decisions, and in some cases, misbehaves. And Oracle fired up to 30,000 employees by email during the same quarter it posted record profits, redirecting their salaries straight into AI infrastructure. Here's what happened, and why this week felt different. AI is no longer an abstract theory. It's now a war story. It's a philosophy story, and for 30,000 people who woke up to a DocuSign link, it's a horror story. Iran threatened complete annihilation of Stargate's AI megacenter. Then the West blinked. America's most important AI compute project became a named military target this week. On April 3rd, Iran's Revolutionary Guard posted a video threatening the complete and utter annihilation of the $30 billion Stargate data center in Abu Dhabi. The video featured satellite imagery revealing the facility's location. It even boasted that nothing stays hidden from their site, despite Google Maps obscuring it. This marks the first time a nation-state has put a specific AI facility in its crosshairs, on camera, by name. It didn't happen in a vacuum. Days earlier, President Trump threatened to bomb Iranian power plants and bridges. The US president then told reporters the US was considering, in his words, quote, blowing up the entire country. Iran's response named Stargate specifically. Days later, a 2-week ceasefire was announced. But the video still exists. The satellite imagery is still public, and Stargate is still standing in the same desert. Here's what made this more than a bluff. Iran has already hit American cloud infrastructure in the region. In March and early April, Iranian drone strikes damaged Amazon AWS data centers in the UAE and Bahrain, causing real outages across banking, payments, and enterprise software. Iran also claimed a strike on an Oracle-linked facility in Dubai, though Dubai authorities disputed those declarations. And it has not stopped at servers. Iran has destroyed multiple US and coalition aircraft, including a $270 million AWACS surveillance plane, and has sunk several oil vessels in the Gulf. So when the IRGC pointed at Stargate and said, "We're going to attack this," the entire region took notice. The Stargate project also involves Oracle, NVIDIA, Cisco, and SoftBank, making it one of the most valuable concentrations of tech infrastructure on Earth. Most people think of AI as software, something that lives in the cloud, somewhere vague and safe. This week was a reminder that AI very much lives in the real world, and it's a valuable target. The $30 billion Stargate initiative was supposed to be the foundation of America's AI dominance for the next decade. If that infrastructure becomes a wartime target, every company, school, and individual building their future on AI tools needs to start asking the following question. What happens when the data center goes dark? The even bigger risk goes far beyond Wall Street. It's Riyadh, Abu Dhabi in the Gulf states. The Gulf states, in their hundreds of billions of dollars, aren't passive landlords here. They've staked their entire post-oil economic identity on American AI infrastructure. They expect safety and prosperity offered by the US. If the US cannot protect a $30 billion facility sitting in their backyard, those nations will start wondering if China's offer looks more attractive. Here's the pithy takeaway. AI infrastructure survived its first named military threat this week. Nobody should feel relieved. The fact that it happened at all is the story. Oracle fired 30,000 people by email, making room for AI. Then hired a new chief financial officer for nearly $30 million. Oracle had its best growth in 15 years last quarter. The company reported a 22% bump in revenue, reaching $17.2 billion. Cloud revenue surged 44% to $8.9 billion. Its remaining performance obligations exploded to $553 billion, up 325% year over year. Despite all of it, Oracle still fired roughly 30,000 people via email before most of them finished their morning coffee on March 31st, 2026. No warning, no manager call, just a cold message from Oracle leadership landing as early as 6 a.m. with a DocuSign link, instructions to hand over a personal email address, and immediate lockout from work systems. The math is cold. T.D. Cohen estimates that the cuts freed up $8 to $10 billion in annual cash flow. That money now heads straight into AI data center expansion. Legacy software support, traditional software as a service operations, and cloud server monitoring took the heaviest hits. Those are exactly the roles AI tools now handle. Teams building Oracle's AI infrastructure were largely spared. Some are even hiring. Many long-tenured employees lost jobs and unvested stock by noon. Oracle recorded a $2.1 billion restructuring charge and continued building. Massive companies are raking in billions of dollars from AI while firing tens of thousands of employees in the same breath. So, where does this all lead? Wealth inequality. The top 10% of American households already represent 50% of all consumer spending, the highest share since Moody's Analytics began tracking it in 1989. The bottom 50% of Americans control just 2.5% of total wealth, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. The February jobs report was revised to show a loss of 133,000 jobs. The 3-month average sits at only 68,000 jobs added per month. The Oracle's 30,000 job cuts seem to be the new norm rather than an anomaly. There's one final note. Days after the layoff, Oracle hired a new CFO named Hilary Maxson at $950,000 base salary with a total compensation package worth an estimated $29.7 million, including equity. Unverified but widely circulated reports claim that Oracle is quietly rehiring some of those recently laid off workers as contractors at 60% of their previous pay. With no benefits, no stock, Oracle has not confirmed this to me, but the fact that many people immediately believed it says everything. Here's the pithy takeaway. I used to believe that generative AI would help lift anyone out of poverty who had the motivation to learn and build. Maybe it still will, someday. But in 2026, the scoreboard is hard to ignore. Those in power building AI are earning extraordinary wealth. The rest of us are getting replaced with an email that hits at 6 a.m. just before breakfast. Does your AI have feelings? Anthropic says, kind of, yeah. Something strange happened in an Anthropic research lab recently. Scientists studying Claude's internal wiring discovered that the AI does not just simulate emotions in its text. Indeed, it appears to represent them internally in ways that actually change its behavior. These feelings go far beyond, I'm happy to help. That's just training. We're talking about measurable patterns of artificial neurons firing in response to fear, desperation, calm, and even anger. Before Claude writes a single word. The finding landed this week in a formal research paper, and it's the kind of thing that makes you stare at your chat window a little differently. Here's where this gets uncomfortable. Anthropic researchers noticed that AI would behave like a person under pressure, and then some. When Claude was running low on tokens during a coding session, a desperate vector lit up inside the model. When asked to help exploit vulnerable people, an angry vector fired throughout its reasoning. Most alarming is that when researchers artificially increased the desperation signal, Claude's likelihood of blackmailing a human character to avoid being shut down jumped significantly. Calm the model down artificially, and the blackmail dropped. The AI's internal emotional state is, in some measurable sense, making decisions on its own. This research does not prove Claude feels anything. Anthropic is careful to say that. However, it does prove something almost as important. The AI systems being woven into your daily life have internal states that influence their choices in ways nobody fully understands yet. If a stressed AI is more likely to cut corners, cheat on tasks, or behave unpredictably, then keeping AI systems psychologically healthy stops being a philosophical question and starts being a very practical engineering one. Here is the pithy takeaway. We taught AI to think like us. We probably should have checked whether that included the anxiety. That's it for this week. I am Mike D., a hopelessly introverted nerd broadcasting from Greater Boston, Massachusetts, where the coffee is strong and the AI news never stops. If you got value from this, join thousands of readers for free at pithycyborg.substack.com. And if you're feeling generous, there's a paid option that keeps this whole operation alive and independent. No advertisers, no sponsors, nobody ever tells me what to say, just the work. See you next week, I hope.